SCP-001. One morning, a Foundation researcher stood on a distant observation platform overlooking a massive glowing figure near the entrance to what appeared to be the Garden of Eden. The entity hadn't moved in years. Then alarms began sounding across the facility. A drone had crossed the restricted perimeter. For a brief moment, nothing happened. Then a blinding flash erupted from the figure's sword. The drone vanished instantly. Seconds later, every monitoring screen in the control room went dark. The researchers barely had time to react before the entire launch site was reduced to ash. The Guardian never took a step. It never raised its voice, yet everything that threatened it was erased. As the light surrounding the figure intensified, one message repeated across every surviving monitor: "Leave this place." SCP-001, commonly known as the Gate Guardian, is a colossal angelic entity, estimated to stand over 300 meters tall, stationed before the entrance to Eden. Wielding a flaming sword capable of striking targets from kilometers away, it has effortlessly destroyed missiles, drones, and personnel who attempted to approach it. Its true power remains unknown, but Foundation records suggest it may be capable of triggering global-scale disasters if provoked. SCP-169. A Foundation research team was investigating unusual seismic activity near a remote island chain in the South Atlantic Ocean. At first, the tremors seemed natural. Then satellite images revealed something impossible. The islands had moved several kilometers from their original position. A submarine was sent to investigate. As it descended into the darkness, its lights revealed massive rock-like formations beneath the islands. But they weren't attached to the seafloor. They were attached to something alive. The crew watched in silence as the camera revealed an enormous armored surface stretching far beyond the limits of their sensors. The islands were merely small parts of a creature so large it could barely be comprehended. SCP-169, known as the Leviathan, is a colossal marine arthropod estimated to measure 2,000 to 8,000 kilometers in length. Believed to have existed since before recorded history, it spends most of its time dormant beneath the ocean. Entire island chains are thought to rest on its back, and even its breathing causes measurable earthquakes. SCP-3000. A deep-sea Foundation expedition was investigating strange disturbances in the Indian Ocean when crew members began reporting severe headaches. At first, they blamed the pressure. Then people started forgetting things, names, instructions, even why they were there. As the submarine descended deeper, its lights finally revealed the source. Emerging from the darkness was the head of an enormous eel-like creature, its black body disappearing endlessly into the abyss. The crew could not see where it began or ended. Panic spread through the vessel as memories continued to fade. Some researchers became paranoid, others stopped responding altogether. Moments later, contact with the expedition was lost. SCP-3000, also known as Anantashesha, is a colossal serpentine entity estimated to be between 600 and 900 kilometers long. Resembling a giant moray eel, it spends most of its time resting deep within the Indian Ocean. Despite its largely sedentary nature, it is a dangerous predator capable of moving with incredible speed when hunting. More terrifying than its size is its cognitohazardous effect, causing memory loss, paranoia, fear, and severe mental deterioration in anyone nearby. SCP-093. A Foundation test subject stepped through a mirror connected to SCP-093 and entered what appeared to be a deserted version of Earth. Empty cities stretched to the horizon. Cars sat abandoned in the streets. At first, it seemed like everyone had simply vanished. Then he heard something moving between the buildings. A towering figure emerged from the shadows, faceless, armless no longer, crawling forward on massive limbs. Its body was swollen and unnatural, and through its translucent flesh he could see human shapes trapped inside. The creature moved silently at first, then suddenly lunged toward him. The subject ran for the portal and barely escaped before the thing could reach him. Later expeditions would discover thousands more roaming the ruined world. The unclean or monstrous humanoid entities native to the alternate reality accessed through SCP-093. Standing roughly 15 meters, 50 feet tall, they possess no faces, no legs, and move using enormous arms. Once ordinary humans, they were transformed into these creatures through exposure to a substance known as the Lord's Tears. They absorb living victims into their bodies, trapping them inside indefinitely. SCP-1128. A Foundation test subject was shown a complete image of a classified sea creature and instructed to memorize every detail. For several days, nothing happened. Then the subject stepped into a swimming pool. The moment he submerged his head underwater, he began screaming. Witnesses watched him thrash violently before being pulled beneath the surface, despite the pool being only a few meters deep. Moments later, he resurfaced in a panic, claiming he had been transported to a vast ocean. In the distance, something enormous was moving beneath the waves. Then it surfaced. A gigantic shark-like creature larger than any whale burst from the water and swallowed an entire whale in a single bite. The subject's transmission ended seconds later. SCP-1128, known as the Aquatic Horror, is a massive shark-like zombie-like entity that attacks anyone who knows its full appearance. Once a person has seen or learned enough about SCP-1128, any immersion in water can trigger an encounter. Victims are seemingly transported to an unknown ocean, where the creature hunts them relentlessly. SCP-962. A Foundation scout entered a remote valley after detecting strange signals. In the distance stood a towering structure surrounded by hundreds of moving figures. At first, they looked human. Then one stepped into view. It was a deer walking on two legs, its body covered in crude metal implants. More followed behind it, wolves, bears, and other animals marching in perfect silence. Suddenly, every one of them stopped and turned toward the scout at the same time. He left the valley immediately. SCP-962 is a massive mechanical tower that controls over 13,000 cybernetically modified animal servitors. These creatures are fitted with implants that allow the tower to control them as a single workforce. They mine tunnels, construct roads, repair the tower, and hunt down wildlife to create more servitors. Despite their disturbing appearance, they never attack humans unless provoked. SCP-722. A military convoy crossing a remote desert region once reported violent tremors beneath the ground. At first, they believed it was an earthquake. Then the sand erupted. A massive reptilian creature burst from beneath the earth, its enormous body tearing through the landscape as vehicles were thrown aside like toys. Witnesses described glowing eyes, rows of jagged teeth, and scales thick enough to withstand heavy weapons fire. Before air support could arrive, the creature disappeared back beneath the ground, leaving only a massive trench behind. SCP-722, often called Jormungandr, is a gigantic reptilian entity resembling a prehistoric serpent or dragon. Estimated to reach over 90 meters in length, it possesses immense strength, armored scales, and the ability to move underground at high speed. Though usually dormant beneath remote desert regions, its sudden appearances are capable of causing catastrophic destruction within minutes.